Of course, ZVZ is a volatile matchup, very high pressure. Elazer actually did drop a map before to Zerg Hamdi as well. He did end up beating him 2-1, but hey, dropping that map got to be something which puts a little bit of fear in his heart. So Elazer's going to be taking this one very seriously. Interestingly enough, even though it's quite a small map, neither player really worried about something like a 12 pool rush from the other. They're both just comfortably going for that hatch gas pool opening, and yeah, it looks like both of them just going to be kind of macroing on up for the opening. Of course, this map, because the rush distance is quite short, even if you see both players go for a fast third, it almost always devolves into Ling Bane back and forth battles, followed up by like Ravager Ling timings, lots of tier 1 hatchery tech aggression. Very rarely will you see someone just beeline towards Roach Speed or Mutalisks or anything like that.
This actually, talk about Ling Ravager for a while there, we actually saw exactly that, almost catching Scarlet of God when she got caught on Habitation Station, I believe, with a very nice wraparound from iGiAsonu, so he could definitely do something similar here, trying to catch his opponent off guard with the Ling Ravager composition. Now, as we do go on into the game here, both very similarly mirroring each other here, going to see Elazer just one drone ahead, but to be honest, no one going for the super early rushes right away, not a lot of cheeses, but iGiAsonu and Elazer going to go into the third hatchery, and usually, as you say, it kind of devolves into this kind of super quick Ling, sometimes Ling Bane wars.
Absolutely, that usually is the most common thing, especially with these fast third bases. Of course, it has been kind of fashionable for players to pull off gas, go for just a big wave of speedlings to cover themselves against Ling Bane pressure, kind of keep the banelings away from their base, and then get out those slightly delayed roaches. I think Elazer very well might be heading in that path, as he has pulled 2 drones off gas. Meanwhile, iGiAsonu, you can see he's starting to bank up a little bit more gas, and he does drop down that baneling nest. So IA looking for the more mobile army, committing a little bit more to the early game, whereas Elazer, no baneling nest down just yet, and it looks like, yeah, with 3 queens out, Zerglings starting to enter that production tab, we're definitely going to see Elazer just head directly towards roaches, following up his Zergling pressure.
Yeah, now he's getting the kind of delayed baneling nest here, as
cast a curse.
Right, every single time. But I mean, iGiAsonu right now, he also was getting a lot of lings. He's going to have the quicker baneling nest, so if he starts morphing banelings right away, there's going to be a bit of an opening where Elazer won't be able to make any banelings of his own. So right now we do see Elazer not really seeing the banelings morphing here with his... Oh no, he does see one just because of that. And right now iGiAsonu is going to be the aggressor. Elazer needs to buy some time until he can make his own banelings in this case. 2
more queens are in that production tab for Elazer. Looks like he wants to go for the mass queen defense while using his own Ling Bane. So this is a really good way to play, but he does need to buy more time. These banelings, I mean, iGiAsonu kind of took his time morphing these banelings, and the banelings are starting to morph for Elazer. If Elazer gets enough time to get those up, he'll be in a really good position. He's even building a couple of drones in the midst of this. Wow. Elazer really just playing a super defensive macro Ling Bane Queen defense. He's got to stop this attack. The banelings for IA are starting to poke in, but those queens there, great focus fire. Elazer pushes them away for now, and he's starting to edge ahead in those drones.
Yeah, very nice from Elazer. I love the fact that he's feeling so confident. Oh, you got to be careful. It's iGiAsonu trying to poke in, but there are already so many banelings here for Elazer as well to just thwart this away. I think iGiAsonu at this point, not making any more banelings, you won't be able to make this happen. Like, he's right now in 3 banes. That's not going to be enough against this amount of queens. So yeah, his plan is just going to be drone ahead.
Well, Elazer really good. He recognizes this. He realizes he can't be broken, so he splits off a nice pack of 14 Zerglings, catches these drones exposed on the third. We'll get 3 drone kills. And, of course, can always run on out of there after forcing this huge pack of Zerglings home. Elazer controlling the pace of the game. He's got a Roach Warren up behind this. He's dropping a second gas, and he is droning like crazy. iGiAsonu just a little bit behind in everything. His own Roach Warren only now getting close to finished, dropping an Evolution Chamber and some more gas geysers.
Yeah, and I really like this position for Elazer right now. Oh, nice baneling connection coming out from iGiAsonu. Gotta be careful. And actually, those banelings getting isolated. iGiAsonu could pick a few of them off. Does get one right away. Now running past the army of Elazer, going into that third base.
I thought he was going to go for the main base there, but I guess IA not wanting to go too YOLO there. Does get a few of his Zerglings trapped, but does get most of his Lings on out of there. So IA, look at this. He's got Ling Bane on the left and on the right. He's going to consolidate these forces. Once again, another Baneling near the Watchtower, looking for that connection. Both players just skirmishing here. Elazer spreading his Banelings out very well. Elazer's still up about 4 workers, and he's got 11 roaches about to pop. That's going to give him the potential to do a big attack. The Ling Bane is not going to be that effective once these roaches really enter out onto the map. And IA, I mean, he's got the faster tech and upgrades behind this, but can he stop this huge roach swell coming out?
Is Elazer actually just going out of the map with these queens? Or is he just going for the Overlord kills here? Because he's making a lot of roaches behind this. There's no tech, really. And he's just walking out. iGiAsonu going for the +1 and Lair behind this. His roaches are so much later. Elazer's getting quite aggressive right now.
Yeah, can't fault him for that. As I said, there's usually these big Ravager, Roach, Zergling, Baneling timing attacks. Nice skirmish on the north side for IA. Does clean up a lot of Elazer's Zerglings. And is going to actually find the exposed workers on that third base. Elazer getting a little bit over eager to get his attack going. He's actually going to lose a lot of drones. Nice little counter moves for IA, but he needs more defense up. Meanwhile, a couple of Banelings about to finish morphing in the main. As Elazer pushes in the front, he's going to run those Banelings into the mineral line. They're going in. Is he going to get the hit in the main base of iGiAsonu? Bam! 5 workers do go down at the same time. Elazer dives into that main base. Roaches are trying to crash through that concave, but it looks like IA's defense reasonably strong for now. As more Zerglings flood in, though, I think Elazer might just barely have the numbers to overwhelm. The queens are falling. The roaches are all so bruised for IA. He's trying to retreat, trying to limit the surface area, but the corrosive biles are landing as well, and it looks like Elazer just has a bit too much.
It does look like that's going to be the case here, and right now iGiAsonu not even dodging many of these biles, losing so many roaches. Elazer just rallying more and more across the map here. iGiAsonu's getting a few roaches, but he just lost 22 drones. And right now he's just delaying the inevitable almost, as iGiAsonu, I mean, he played well, but his aggression just didn't work out, and Elazer got away with so many drones behind his play.
Yep, Elazer here, he's just going to start to close this out. He's got more and more lings and roaches flooding across this map. IA desperately trying to micro his way out of this one, but these are his last few roaches being surrounded, being overwhelmed, and Elazer is going to close it out. I think this game really comes back to that early just control of the pressure by Elazer, building 5 queens. The moment he saw the extra lings coming out across the map, the Banelings morphing, is like, yep, build 2 more queens, pull these queens that I've already got to the front. And yeah, I mean, there was just no opening for IA. And it wasn't just a light pressure. It was like 40, 50 Zerglings.
Oh, yeah.
No drones behind it. Elazer was mixing those drones in at the same time. And then once he had that economic advantage, he just never let go of the reins. His lings found the drones on the third base. He had faster roaches. His queens were killing overlords on the map. Just stronger, more solid play out of Elazer that game.
Definitely. I think something I have to ask you, though, right, is iGiAsonu went for this really big ling attack, but he only made 1 Baneling right away. Then he made 2 more. He went up to a maximum of 3 Banelings. What's the point of that? He'd had like a good 200 gas behind this.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting, right? With how much he committed, I did almost want to see him just make like 10, 12 Banelings,
right?
Go ham. Of course, it's a lot more all-in if you do that. When you see someone as good as Elazer, who's so prepared with their own queens up, you know, you think, oh, you know, I probably can't break this. But I think there was definitely a window where the Banelings weren't ready for Elazer. If he just instantly made 5, 6, 7 Banelings, he could have, you know, just rolled in, got in there before the Banelings or the Elazer got up and potentially crushed him. But you've got to remember, StarCraft's a game of limited information, and there's just no way for iGiAsonu to know the Baneling nest was so late.
Exactly.
He didn't have that information, which we, watching, of course, were privy to. So he's kind of like, all right, you know, let's just poke around a bit. Okay, there's a few queens. I can keep building Zerglings, maybe look for some follow-up pressure. Elazer got away with being a little bit greedier, much more mineral-focused, got those queens out, and that just gave him a solid anchor to his defense. And there's no way for IA with just Ling Bane to dislodge that.
No, I really like the fact that he got so many queens, just because it's one of those staple units when you want to defend against Banelings, especially if you can focus fire them, but also because when they soak up those hits, they just become so useless suddenly, the Banelings days. And when
Baneling sponges, man.
Yeah, right? And they're just like Arcos almost, just that these can heal as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I gotta say, a very solid hold from Elazer, looking so great in this first map. We're going to move on to Daybreak, though, as the next one.
All right.
How do you feel in this one?
It's a bit of a bigger map, so maybe we won't see quite as aggressive an early game. It's going to be interesting. There's still a lot of options. Often we still see roaches and, you know, smashing their way across the map in the early game following the Ling Bane stage. Going to have to see how both of these guys do choose to play it, though. So let's dive on into map number 2, of course. Our Zerg player in the bottom left-hand side. Unfortunately, dropping that first map, representing China, it is IA. Intelligent Artificial.
Intelligent Artificial?
That should be his nickname. Terrible nickname.
And his opponent, of course, in the top right-hand side as the blue Zerg, it is going to be Elazer.
Playing for Poland, the recent semi-finalist of BlizzCon 2016, the WCS Global Finals, made it to the top 4. And, I mean, really, his Zerg versus Protoss is what stood out there a lot. But across all the matchups, he just looked very strong and very solid. And it's very cool to see such a young player a few years ago, back in 2015, first times in WCS, come out very confident. Since then, he's steadily matured a little bit. He's had some, tournaments where he's been really shattered after his losses. He's had great victories, and he's starting to just get to that point where he's one of the absolute top non-Korean Zerg players. He's always in that kind of top 3 players for sure.
Something very interesting with Elazer as well is that since he, I always want to draw parallel to Namshar, who's always been kind of behind Zanster, or sort of in that regard. You see Elazer who's always kind of been behind Nurture, who's been, the more famous player from his country. But I gotta say, although Nurture has been absolutely phenomenal this last patch, I think Elazer has just stepped up so much in the recent year. And it's really cool when you see this guy, I saw him way back, in Go for SC2s and these weekly cups, just coming in and start playing these really big tournaments. And he's done so well so far. Yeah,
he's just been making leaps and bounds in those improvements. And we can see here both players once again opening up quite safe, just going for that double hatchery first. Well, I guess hatchery first for each of them is the better way to say that. No one's going through hatchery before pool here.
We can wish, but it's not going to happen.
It's actually one of the maps where it is a little bit more common, but just going to be a fast third coming out here for Elazer. Meanwhile, iGiAsonu as well, looks like he wants to be doing the same. This is the most typical standard opening at high level Zerg versus Zerg. It's just getting your own expansion up very quickly, taking a fast third, and not necessarily droning that third very quickly, but using it so if you ever get an advantage, if you ever keep your opponent back home, you can suddenly just build a big round of drones, start mining that income so much faster, and of course getting the lava from it. So the third base is very important to allow yourself to stay flexible. And if either player can snipe the other's third, then he just pushes him down into a very narrow set of options, and it becomes very easy for the guy who's still got the third base to win the game.
Especially in ZVZ, I feel that the amount of hatcheries and injuries you can get, it really does matter, because a lot of plays are very link based, and you need as much as you can just to be able to produce from that. We're going to see now, though, iGiAsonu is getting a lot of hits on Elazer's third here. Elazer doesn't want to take the fight because his links are injured. He's waiting for the queen, so a bit of a nice start here from iGiAsonu. Might not matter, but he's making a lot of links behind this, and since the hit points are already pretty low, this could spell pretty much disastrous for Elazer.
Absolutely. Elazer has spotted this coming with his Overlords. He is building a faster Baneling nest this game, though he did pull guys off gas, so he's going to have a lot less Banelings. Only 3 defensive Banelings morphing. Meanwhile, IA diving onto that third base. He knows he wants to try and finish this off, and I think he's going to get it. Elazer with the delayed Baneling nest getting caught off guard. Loses the third base. A great aggressive attack here from IA. Of course, he doesn't want to just throw his Zerglings away. He'd like to get those queens, but the Banelings come in just in time for Elazer. IA takes a good advantageous position, but he's still down about 8 workers. And with how much Ling Bane he's building, he wants to find more damage in this. Those queens struggling to get back here. They were off creep. The Ling Bane coming in here for IA, but nice Banelings from Elazer. One of them does go down inconsequentially, but the queens with the transfuse do hold on and defend for now. The Ling Bane going to come in once more, try and deny this third base. IA has droned a little bit behind this, but not a lot. He's still building lots of Zerglings behind this, and even a Roach Warren looking like he's very focused on continuing this aggression.
Ooh, but it does get the cancel though, so he's making sure that Elazer's not mining off of 3 bases. So this is still a pretty nice move from iGiAsonu, but I do agree with you. Soon enough, he's going to have to start droning up. He's adding a few drones now, and now we see him start getting that eco right on track. We're seeing the Roach Warren as well now being finished, so iGiAsonu this time, in contrast to the previous game, is going to be ahead in most regards.
IA kind of playing almost overly safe behind this pressure. He's not only got Banelings remorphed outside Elazer's base, but also at home. Really worried about the potential for some sort of massive Ling Bane counterattack. But it's actually going to be a Roach War that we are going to be seeing in the near future. Elazer with his 5 queens, once again 3 of them out here as a defensive squad trying to defend this third base. The creep is finally getting down towards that. Elazer continuing to drone. IA, on the other hand, also just droning for the moment, not looking like he wants to go for a super fast Roach Bane or anything.
And IA just now did scout the Roach Warren, so he knows what's going to come his way. I kind of like the position though for IA. I mean, he's up in drones. The third is still not finished here for Elazer, and IA can just keep making those roaches. He should be looking towards that lair soon enough, though, I do believe.
Yeah, he's just going to be droning on up and adding roaches now, as well as an evolution chamber. Elazer did just scout the fact that there was no lair, and there we go. IA does start the lair up, so he is going to be heading towards this upgraded roach game. Elazer with these little packs of Zerglings, constantly keeping eyes on just how much economy versus army iGiAsonu is focusing on. And that's exactly what you got to do in Zerg versus Zerg. You know, you can't scout the production facilities because for Zerg, the production facilities are just their bases. So how do you tell how much army they're going to hit you with? You've got to keep checking how many workers there are. And that's exactly what Elazer's so on top of right now. IA looking to do a bit of a Roach Ravager pressure. The Zerglings from Elazer, though, going to dive in on that north side, finding a few drones. Great micro here. These drones all trying to stack up on each other to deny the focus fire. But Elazer, equally good with his micro, finds 3 drone kills. Nice pickup for a couple of Zerglings.
Yeah, and I think also pretty important is that he pulls iGiAsonu back, so he buys a lot of time with this move. iGiAsonu on his way does get an Overlord, but behind this we do see Elazer right away grabbing that roach speed and the +1. iGiAsonu of course doing the same, but they are kind of equalizing right now. Elazer now also having a much bigger army. You see he's already up to his 18 roaches.
Yep, iGiAsonu is actually droned up to 60 workers, kind of making it look like he wanted to play aggressively, but not actually going for it. Elazer finally loses his Overlord. He forced IA to throw 2 or 3 sets of vials before he got it, but IA is doing a really cool macro game right now. He's actually going to Spire behind this as well. 6 gases. And Elazer's just frozen up on 49 drones. Elazer's actually adding some Zerglings right now.
Ooh.
He might just go for a big Roach attack, and he is up a lot in army supply right now. 29 Roaches versus 11. More and more Zerglings in the production. Oh, man. 4th base on the way for IA. No way. IA, you've got to start building spine crawlers. If you're going to try and go for mutas, he's gone up to 67 drones. This is an insane work account for IA. I don't know if there's any way to stop this army. +1 and Roach speed is finishing for Elazer. He's going to have so many Zerglings with this as well, reinforcing across that map quickly. iGiAsonu, I don't think he realizes exactly how strong this army is.
This was a huge mistake from iGiAsonu, trying to do everything at the same time. This is just so much in terms of army coming out from Elazer. He will easily kill the 4th base, but I think he's just looking for the throat right now.
Yeah, this is a great timing attack from Elazer. Looking to get in here before that Spire finishes, before those mutas can be out. And he is going to just crash over the top. The numbers just too much in Elazer's favor. The Zerglings, not the greatest unit here, but because they reinforce so quickly, they're adding to this one hard punch that Elazer's thrusting into IA. And look at this, the Spire's just finished, but it's too late. Drones being pulled off the line. 21 workers have been killed. Elazer back in the economy advantage, and he's still got Roaches and Ravagers to spare.
Yeah, and here come the Lings as well. Elazer just showing how to play ZVZ even when behind an economy. Beautiful here on Daybreak, and iGiAsonu just falling apart in the end. I gotta say, this was a really cool timing attack here from Elazer.
Yeah, very well executed. Of course, looking for the 2-0 quick victory here is Elazer. And yeah, just fantastic play. He just played so well here. I really liked the way IA was playing this, but in the end, he does have to tap out. GG. A quick, convincing 2-0 victory to Elazer.
I gotta say, Elazer playing this series just so well. I mean, in the first game, holding the Ling Bane pressure, and in the second game, he kind of fell behind, it felt like, especially when he was so far behind in workers. But this timing attack was just so perfect, and iGiAsonu didn't even see it coming until the end. We
were talking about how you've got to scout those work accounts, right? And Elazer's there frantically worried about an all-in attack, checking the work accounts, and IA got a bit lazy. He kind of scouted with an Overseer at the front a little bit and kept droning. I mean, droning past about 60 drones in Zerg vs. Zerg, that's the point where normally you say, whoa, that's a bit crazy. Unless you know your opponent's being greedy or you're ahead, like, you can't do that. And I think the game was very tied neck and neck at that point because despite the early lead, IA was very slow to drone up. So even when he got the worker lead, that was from an even position, which meant he's sacrificing army to get more workers. So then to drone up a bit ahead, and then a bit more, and then a bit more. It was like, hey, you've got 30 more roaches than me. I've got extra gases, Spire, fourth base, all of these things which don't help the defense. If he added a few spine crawlers, maybe had eight less drones, a few more roaches, he might have been able to defend that push. And if he defends that, gets out a pack of Mutalisks, Elazer's done for. He's got a small economy. He doesn't have any tech other than roaches. He didn't have any extra upgrades coming in. So, I mean, well played by Elazer, but IA missing a little bit of an opportunity after sniping the third base.